Oh my God, Julian Castro is running for president. That was huge news today. Slash, not at all big news. Okay, he is technically the second to officially announce, and although there's realistically 4 people in the race, Tulsi Gabbard said yesterday as well that she's going to run, whatever that means. We all know what these means. Whether it's an exploratory committee like Elizabeth Warren, or they're going to run, or they officially announce, they're all running, right? So Julian Castro used to be housing and urban development head for Barack Obama, and he was the mayor of San Antonio. Fun fact about him is that he's got a twin brother, Joaquin Castro, who is a congressman, and Joaquin will also be his campaign manager. Oh, that's fun. That's cute. That's America for you guys. So should progressives be excited about Julian Castro? Well, there's 2 answers to that. One is no. The other is, I don't know, maybe. Okay, so let's break it down a little bit. That's my job, isn't it? That's what we do at the Young Turks. That's what we get paid the big bucks for, the whole $4.99 a month, or just free trial for membership. Do I plug that sometimes on the live videos? tyt.com/join or tyt.com/holiday. That's the free trial for a week. We'll put the links down below. All right, anyway. So Julian is for Medicare for All. Hey, that's good. And he's for College for All. That's great. And so that's a little bit bolder than some of the other Democrats that are running, so that's really positive. He gave this one answer to a New York Times columnist that I did not love, and you can argue that it's nitpicking, and that's totally fine, and everybody's got a range of opinions here, but it just gave me a sense of the kind of politician that he is. So I believe it was Charles Blow that asked him, hey, if Trump is indicted after he's no longer president and you're the president, would you pardon him like Ford did for Nixon? He's like, oh, that's a tough question. And he's like, well, nobody's above the law, but I have to see where the country is at that time. Not a great answer. So, and I'll tell you why. Would I say that I definitely would not pardon him? I guess that's too strong. But so first, my way of answering that would be, look, if he's indicted, then obviously they've got very serious charges against him, and definitely no one's above the rule of law, and it's very, very important that we enforce the law. There's so many people in jail for smoking pot, for taking $10. A guy stole a slice of pizza, he's in prison, right? And so we can't have the elites getting away with it. But of course it depends on the circumstances. See, that's a fine answer, because you don't want to say right now, without knowing all the evidence, what you would do exactly. But when you say it depends on the state of the country, that sounds like you're going to be intimidated by the Republicans and then pull an Obama and say we don't look backwards, we look forwards. And when it comes to the elite, right? So that's what he did with Bush and Cheney. In my opinion, they're war crimes, let alone arguably just as importantly, if not more so, for the state of the economy at least, letting all the bankers who did fraud get away with it because we look forwards, we don't look backwards. So and he's an Obama official. Look, the reality of it is, based on his track record, based on what we know about him so far, it looks like he's a fairly standard milquetoast politician. But he has taken these good positions, which you should reward. That should be very important. Policy positions matter. Now, if you're an establishment person and you're wondering, hey, how can I ever please these progressives? I mean, the guy says he's for Medicare for all and College for all. What else do you want? Well, I'll tell you, and this is important. The question is, do we believe them? So you could say you're for those things, and if you become president, but are you going to fight for them? Are you going to prioritize them? Or was it a political trick? So of course that's important. Of course it is. And you could have different opinions on it, and you could say, no, I take the guy at face value. He seems like a lovely guy, and he does. And I believe that if he says Medicare for all, he's going to fight for that, and he's actually in favor of it, and he's going to fight for it. Okay. Right now, he takes corporate PAC money. That's obviously not a very good sign. I don't know if he'll change that at some point, as far as I know. One of the first things he's going to do is campaign down in Puerto Rico. That's a wonderful sign. He's working with Latino Victory Fund. They're a good progressive group. So, guys, like, for all of us right now, a year out from the primaries, do we know every nook and cranny of every one of their policy positions and their track record? No, of course not. Not yet. I mean, for Bernie Sanders, since we went through it already a couple of years ago, we know his record a lot better. Elizabeth Warren is so prominent. We know her record better. Beto just ran a giant campaign, so we know his record a little bit better. And there's a range, right? and that's why they campaign. And we'll find out in a year over the next year. So my point to progressives is, look, he appears to be milquetoast, and Julian Castro, really, for president? Let's keep it real. What's he doing? He's trying to burnish his credentials, get some PR, so that he can get a higher position, so that he could make a real run later in his life. He doesn't expect to win now. But by the way, if we're being fair, you could say the same thing about Tulsi Gabbard. Doesn't really necessarily expect to win now, but is getting a lot of name recognition out of a run, etc., right? So I think those are fair analysis, but I don't know their hearts and their minds, right? Okay, now, but for progressives, should you keep an open mind on a guy like Castro? Sure, why not? I mean, hear him out. You don't have to vote for a whole nother year. So let's look at his record, let's look at what he says, let's look at his policies. For the establishment guys who get so mad at us for not immediately saying, oh my God, I love Julian Castro, he's a wonderful guy, he's a Democrat, he's wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Just calm down for a second. There's gonna be like 30 people in the race. Yeah, their track record matters. I mean, I don't see that Julian's done anything outstanding so far in his career. I mean, he's only 44, being head of HUD and being a mayor of San Antonio. Those are good, wonderful things. Did he fight for huge progressive priorities when he was in those offices? I don't see it right now, but maybe I missed it. So that's why why keep an open mind and why we look forward. If you're a regular person in Washington, you're not understanding why people are not like exuberant about Julian Castro. And I'm being unfair. I don't think people are that confused why no one's exuberant about Julian Castro. But if you are wondering, it's because he doesn't have the great track record that Sanders and Warren has. So that's fair too. So, all right, let's give it some time and see how it goes. But this is not like, oh my God, my hair's on fire, I didn't see it coming. Everybody saw this coming. And he was supposed to be a huge up-and-comer. The establishment names people like Julian Castro as an up-and-comer based on very, very little. And they talked about how he might have been the VP pick for Hillary Clinton, and that's also not a good sign. Anyway, but Beto O'Rourke, also being from Texas, took a lot of wind out of Julian Castro's sails. So we'll see if he's got any wind left in those sails, and we'll investigate it as we go forward. But now you got basically 4 people, five when you count Ojeda, definitely running, that are politicians, and even more when you count non-politicians. So game's afoot. Let's see how it goes.